Starting off this countdown, we have Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz has starred in a number of iconic movies, from The Mask to There's Something About Mary to Charlie's Angels, and how could we forget about Shrek? Sadly, it seems as if Cameron is over her acting days. She last appeared on screen in 2014 for the film Annie. 4 years later, in 2018, she announced that she has retired. She said that she didn't really miss performing, and as of now, she's just enjoying spending quality time with her daughter. And she loves having tons of time for herself. Who knows though, maybe in a couple more years she'll give acting another go. But as for now, she's set on her retirement. In our 9th spot, we have Jennifer Stone. Any fan of the old school Disney Channel days will recognize Jennifer Stone from Wizards of Waverly Place, where she plays the eccentric Harper. After her Disney Channel days, Jennifer went on to star in a number of TV miniseries and movies. In fact, she was even in a Christmas movie with the actor who played Ned in Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. Smash that like button if you remember that show. That's a throwback. Anyway, nowadays Jennifer has completely switched careers. She is now a registered nurse and is helping patients with COVID. That is incredible. Good for her. In our 8th spot, we have Jessica Biel. In an interview a couple years ago, Jessica revealed that it's getting harder and harder for her to get roles and to be cast. She claims that her good looks were holding her back. No word of a lie, she said that she was too pretty. Anyways, Jessica is still currently acting, but in more low-key roles. I believe her last big role was The Sinner in 2017. I mean, I heard it's a very good show, so props to her. But after that, it's been mainly voiceover gigs like in BoJack Horseman and Pete the Cat. Nothing huge and Oscar worthy. Coming in at number 7, we have Lindsay Lohan. Honestly, Lindsay Lohan was responsible for some of the most iconic teen movies like Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, The Parent Trap, Get a Clue, Mean Girls, Freaky Friday, like the list goes on and on. So it's quite sad that we lost such a talented actress with tons of potential. Anyways, Lohan's drug addiction got to her and she kind of fell off the map. When she did try and get back into acting, she was hard to deal with on set and she was demanding and unprofessional. Then of course we had the reality show Lindsay Lohan Beach Club in 2019, and that only lasted one season. Now she's back out of the public eye again. Coming in at number 6, we have Terry Crews, another actor who has been in some iconic shows and movies. But after Brooklyn Nine-Nine ending, it doesn't seem like Crews has any more work lined up and ready to go. According to his IMDb page, he only filmed Brooklyn Nine-Nine this year, as well as voiced a character in the upcoming animated movie Rumble. This is unlike him, who is normally filming non-stop each year with multiple projects on the go. Hopefully we will be seeing more of Crews next year, but as of now he has no projects lined up. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with Jack Gleeson, who you might recognize from Game of Thrones. If you're a fan of the show, then chances are you hated his character. But surprisingly enough, even after acting in such an iconic show, Jack barely got any other acting roles after Game of Thrones. In 2014, he was pretty discouraged by this and said he wanted to resign from acting to focus on his academics. He ended up taking a philosophy course in Ireland. When he announced his decision to take a break from acting, he said, and I quote, "I just stopped enjoying it as much as I used to, and now there's the prospect of doing it for a living, whereas up until now it was always something I did for recreation with my friends or in the summer for some fun. I enjoyed it. When you make a living from something, it changes your relationship with it. It's not like I hate it, it's just not what I want to do." But acting isn't out of the picture. He ended up opening a successful touring theater company and starred in the BBC comedy Out of Her Mind in March. He just won't be in the spotlight as much as he was originally. Coming in at number 4, we have Freddie Prinze Jr. You might know him in I Know What You Did Last Summer, or maybe from his iconic role of Fred in the live-action Scooby-Doo. That right there is my childhood. He also appeared in a back-to-back role in Friends in 2002. Well, after appearing in season 8 of the show 24 with Kiefer Sutherland, Freddie said that he wanted to quit acting. According to him, and I quote, "I did 24. It was terrible. I hated every moment of it. Kiefer was the most unprofessional dude in the world. That's not me talking trash. I'd say it to his face. I think everyone that's worked with him has said that. Ouch." He continued on saying, and I quote, "I just wanted to quit the business after that, so I just sort of stopped." So a bad set experience is what triggered Freddie to stop acting. Nowadays though, he's a chef and released his own cookbooks. And he's married to Daphne from Scooby-Doo. Anyway, moving on to number 3, we have Taylor Lautner. After Shark Boy and Lava Girl and Cheaper by the Dozen, Taylor went on to star in Twilight, which is probably what he's best known for. Then he acted in Scream Queens Season 2, which was interesting, to say the least. After that, he kinda just fell out of the public eye. That was until recently when he announced his proposal to his now fiancée, Taylor Dome, meaning that they will both be Taylor Lautner if she chooses to keep his last name. It seems as if Taylor had a harder time transitioning from Twilight to more serious roles. It took a while, but his co-stars Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart both did it. Now it's time for you, Taylor. Moving on to number 2, we have Betty White, one of the purest souls out there. Betty White is just incredible, no one can deny that. And this queen is 99 years old, soon she'll be 100, which is hard to believe because she looks too good for her age. Anyway, Betty White has been slowing down on her work lately. Her recent credits are mainly voiceover work, but she has guest starred in a couple of TV shows and movies. But according to her IMDb page, since 2019 she hasn't done any work, which is completely acceptable. Like, this woman has been working since she was a teenager. I just need to know her secrets to living long and looking that damn good. And in our number 1 spot today we have Daniel Day-Lewis. Now this one is hard to believe. Daniel Day-Lewis is incredibly talented. He's got 3 Oscars, 4 British Academy Film Awards, and even got knighted by Queen Elizabeth II. But in 2017, Daniel Day-Lewis released a statement through his rep. The rep said, and I quote, "Daniel Day-Lewis will no longer be working as an actor. This is a private decision and neither he nor his representatives will make any further comment on this subject." This was announced not long after receiving an Academy Award nomination for Phantom Thread. Now, Lewis did go into semi-retirement in the 90s, so maybe that's what's happening again. He's just gonna take a little short break and then come back. Hopefully, he'll be back making movies in no time. Starting off the list at number 10 is Terrence Howard. We saw him take on the role of James Rhodes in the first Iron Man movie, but then he disappeared and we didn't see him reprise his role for the sequel. But we eventually got an explanation for it, and it's pretty simple. Money. He discussed his reasoning for leaving the MCU in 2013 on the Andy Cohen series called Watch What Happens Live. He alleged that Robert Downey Jr., I quote, "took the money that was supposed to go to me and pushed me out." He explained that Marvel signed him up for 3 films, and then when it was time for the sequel, they demanded he take an almost 90% pay cut. I feel like that's illegal. He also said that he called Robert Downey Jr., a friend of his who he actually helped get the role of Iron Man in the first place, and apparently Robert didn't call him back for 3 months. But 4 years later they were able to be civil again, and Terrence admitted that he just ran his mouth when he shouldn't have, and that they are all making money now, so who cares. Up next at number 9 is Zoe Saldana. We watched her play Gamora in the Marvel franchise for years, but recently she disappeared on us. Fans were thrilled to see her resurrection in Avengers Endgame, but her return left everyone with a lot of unanswered questions. Mainly one: what does this mean? Now that she's basically come back to life, where does her character go from here? Fans were hoping to get some answers at Comic-Con this year, but all we got was confirmation that she will not be returning anytime soon. When speaking with the LA Times, she spoke as if her time with the MCU has officially reached an end. They spoke about her last experience as Gamora and how she felt, and she said, "It was sad, of course, because I think we all suffer from FOMO. There is always a fear of missing out, but I'm so happy that I got to play a part in the Marvel universe. So I guess I'm going to cry all the way to Avatar, you know?" Zoe knew she would return for Avengers Endgame to finish the story, but we're all pretty bummed that hers might officially be over. At number 8 we have Gwyneth Paltrow, who we know to play Iron Man's beautiful wife in the series, Pepper Potts. She played Tony Stark's love interest for 11 years, appearing in different movies throughout her MCU experience. Her character appeared in all 3 Iron Man movies, as well as Avengers Infinity War, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Avengers Endgame. However, for those who saw Avengers Endgame, we all had to witness the death of Tony Stark, which means we also were saying goodbye to Pepper Potts. Fans might be bummed out, but Gwyneth seems to be okay with it and says that it is her time. She told Variety, "I mean, I'm a bit too old to be in a suit and all at this point." She has nothing but good things to say about her experience in the MCU, and chances are very slim that she will just reappear. So having the number 7 spot is Edward Norton. He took on the role of the Green Monster, the Hulk, in the original Incredible Hulk movie. Fans were in shock back in 2010 when it was announced that they wouldn't be asking him to reprise his role in Avengers, saying that they wanted an actor who, I quote, "embodied the creativity and collaborative spirit of our other talented cast members." Like anyone else would be, Edward was offended by that statement and told his side of the story, saying they unexpectedly cut off negotiations after weeks of civil, discussions. I'm confused. Turns out there was already bad blood between the actor and Marvel because he wanted to rewrite the script, and when his added scenes weren't used in the final cut, he refused to do press for it. More recently in 2018, over a decade later, he took a shot at Marvel during Comedy Central's roast of Bruce Willis and went to the podium and said, "I tried to be like Willis. I did a big action movie called The Incredible Hulk. You know what went wrong? I wanted a better script." Shots fired. Next up at number 6 is Hugo Weaving, who played the Red Skrull throughout his time in the MCU. He first signed a multi-picture deal with Marvel Studios, but then decided he didn't want to return after Captain America: The First Avenger. You might be confused, as we saw the Red Skrull after that in Avengers: Infinity War, but that was not Hugo. He was actually replaced by another actor. Apparently there weren't any hard feelings towards Marvel, he just wanted to steer away from blockbuster movies. He spoke about it with Collider, saying, "I think I've done my dash with that sort of film. It was good to do it and try it out, but to be honest, it's not the sort of film I seek out and am excited by." Since then he has appeared in other blockbuster films, but his screen time is relatively short, nothing compared to his time as the Red Skrull. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Tim Blake Nelson. Hulk comic fans weren't surprised when we learned about Mr. Blue in the Incredible Hulk film. The mystery man that Bruce Banner can only contact through instant messages turns out to be a scientist named Samuel Stearns, who was played by Tim Nelson. In the comics, his character is the alter ego of the Hulk Nemesis, and their storyline lasted 4 years. This would have fans to believe that we'd see the storyline play out. In 2011, Nelson told the Playlist that he was still under contract to do more films for Marvel, but nothing ever came from it. He never got another Hulk standalone movie. Mark Ruffalo later took on the role as the Green Monster, and if it makes anything better for Norton, we still haven't seen a Hulk standalone movie, so don't worry. Here we are at number 4 with Tim Roth. He played the villain, the Abomination, in the Incredible Hulk movie, so people thought they would see him again for the sequel to Avengers. Tim told Crave Online that Marvel actually considered it. He said, "They were going to do it. They were thinking in the Avengers or something. It just kind of got swept under the rug, I guess." He went on to say that he didn't feel confident about making a return to the MCU, so it's really no surprise that he disappeared after that. However, there's no bad blood and he'd be more than willing to come back. He once answered a fan question on Reddit and wrote, "I don't think Marvel will ever use me again, but it would be fun. Unfortunately, man, I don't think they will either." At number 3 is Chris Evans. Our beloved Captain America has disappeared from the Marvel Universe, and I'm still pretty upset about it. At the end of Avengers Endgame, we watched him pass over his shield to Falcon, who confirmed at the Seattle Comic Con that he is in fact the new Captain America. Which can only mean one thing: Chris Evans no longer has a place in the MCU. Although you won't convince Marvel fans who feel like the actor can never truly be replaced. He did get one final performance in Endgame, and he was asked about his character's decision to return to the past and whether or not his reunion with Peggy Carter will have some sort of ramifications with Sharon Carter. Chris admits that he doesn't have the answer to that question, but he said that the MCU will never leave a stone unturned. He said, "Ask the writers. I mean, look, I understand there's a lot of things you could question about the time continuum, but if there's anything I've learned about working with Marvel, it's that they don't leave stones unturned. They really don't." So basically, let's all cross our fingers for the chance that he comes back for some kind of cameo or something. Just put him on our screen. In spot number 2 is Robert Downey Jr. Number 2 on this list, but number 1 in our hearts. That was so cheesy. This one is pretty painful to talk about. After 11 years of watching the actor play Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, we had to part ways with him in Endgame after watching his very emotional death. Marvel fans are still digesting the death of the hero, and Comic-Con was just another reminder that we will not be seeing him in Phase 4. It might be safe to say that Robert Downey Jr. has officially run out of time in the MCU. People were happy to see him appear in Spider-Man: Homecoming, even though it wasn't part of a story that continues any further. But regardless, Marvel fans already have a theory that the actor might return one day. The actor has recently said that he wants to see Ironheart being immortalized on screen as an actual character in the MCU. If this is a possibility, then he could technically come back as an AI, meaning he could reprise his Tony Stark ego as an artificial intelligence. There is no confirmation on this, and Marvel's president Kevin Feige speaks on Tony Stark's death and said that his death will be felt in future movies. So he is still talking in past tense, which means that he is totally gone. Taking the number 1 spot on our list is Tom Holland due to recent tragic events. The Marvel Universe was flipped upside down when it was announced that Disney and Sony could not reach an agreement on finances for the Spider-Man franchise. Technically, Sony owns Spider-Man, which also means that they pretty much own Tom Holland. The door officially closed on Spider-Man returning to the MCU, and Sony's boss man, Tony Vinciquerra, says they will be okay. He told Variety, "Spider-Man was fine before the event movies, did better with the event movies, and now that we have our own universe, he will play off the other characters as well. I think we're pretty capable of doing what we
have to do here. The two studios weren't able to reach an agreement because Disney wanted a 50-50 co-financing arrangement and Sony refused. There has been a ton of backlash from fans who are saying that they are going to boycott future Sony movies. Tom Holland doesn't like to speak on the issue right now and simply made a statement to his fans where he told them he's grateful and that he loves them 3000. Only true fans will know what that means.
Starting off our list at number 10 is Jake Thomas. He played the annoying little brother Matt on Lizzie McGuire. Although he was annoying, he was actually quite funny if I'm being honest. What made his character so good was that if you had a younger sibling who always told on you, then you could relate to what Lizzie went through. Playing Hilary Duff's young brother on such a successful show would definitely set you up for a big acting career, or so you would think. The former Disney star is now 29 years old and is still trying to make it in the acting world. He now travels between LA and Knoxville, Tennessee. Since his time on Lizzie McGuire, he's booked roles, some major and some minor. His last big role was in 2014 when he starred in the TV series Storytellers. Since then, we haven't seen him in anything big. Here is hoping though that there is a Lizzie McGuire reunion and a remake and we can see him once again. And Hilary Duff too, of course. At number 9 is Tiffany Thornton, who starred alongside Demi Lovato in the Disney series Sunny with a Chance. She took on the hilarious role of Tawny Hart for 2 seasons, but then the show ended in 2011. Good news was, it was replaced by a spin-off show called So Random where she starred as the show's main character instead. Sorry Demi. But after just 1 year the show came to an end and we didn't really see much from the actress ever again. It was hard to believe seeing as she had a pretty impressive acting resume throughout her entire career. She starred on 8 Simple Rules, Hannah Montana, That's So Raven, The OC, and even Desperate Housewives. Turns out we haven't seen much of her because she ended up leaving the acting industry to focus on her family life. She is now a wife, a mother, and recently turned 33 years old. Taking over spot number 8 is David Henrie. The actor is best known for his role as Justin Russo on the Disney show Wizards of Waverly Place. It definitely didn't hurt that his character was the brother to his co-star Selena Gomez. He had booked some roles before landing the role and he even continued to book more once the show was finished. He was only 18 years old when he got cast to play Justin Russo, so he knew he had a full career ahead of him. In 2013, he made an appearance in the movie Grown Ups 2, which starred Adam Sandler and Taylor Lautner. He also appeared in the movie Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. Other than that, we haven't heard much from the actor, but it's simply due to the fact that he has been dedicating his time more to personal projects. He has directed 2 small movies, one called Boo and the other one called Catch. He is now 29 years old, so there's still plenty of time for him to get back into acting if he wanted to, although he has made some headlines with having some run-ins with the law, so he might have to clean up his record first. Sliding into spot number 7 is Cody Lindley. Every girl that watched Hannah Montana remembers his character, the teen heartthrob Jake Ryan. He played Miley Cyrus's love interest throughout the series and we couldn't help but crush along with her. Fans were sad to see him leave the show in 2010, and by fans I mean me. So what exactly has he been up to since he left the show? He did continue to pursue an acting career and even booked a role in the TV movies Sharknado 4 and Sharknado 5, but that was back in 2017 and we haven't seen him in anything ever since. He still posts throwback pictures on Instagram from his time on the Disney show, so that's always a nice excuse to gush over our childhood crush. Turns out he is now living a pretty normal life. He's a big sucker for animals, which is why he turned vegan, and the now 29-year-old lives happily with his 3 dogs. At number 6 we have Ashley Brilalt. The former Disney star played one of Disney's most brilliant villains. Yes, I am talking about her role as mean girl Kate Sanders in Lizzie McGuire. She was Hilary Duff's enemy, but she played the part so well that fans loved to hate her. She took on a lead role in every single episode of the show, which is why fans were shocked when she completely disappeared afterwards. Right after the show ended in 2004, Ashley quit acting altogether and went on to study law. She ended up going to CSU Long Beach where she earned her degree in political science. Then she went to University of Denver where she got her JD. During an interview in 2015, she said, "At the moment I'm focusing on being a mom to this amazing little human being, and in the next few months I plan on looking for a job as a lawyer in the civil rights or criminal defense field. My ultimate goal is to work on issues related to criminal justice reform." I mean, seeing how she played Kate Sanders, I can totally see her being a kick-ass lawyer. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Matthew Timmons. The actor once starred alongside Dylan and Cole Sprouse on the Disney show The Sweet Life on Deck. He played the goofy and lovable Woody Fink, the kid with the crazy curly hair and glasses. Once the show ended, he still remained with Disney and appeared on the show Jessie. But after that, he kinda just dropped off the map, not just from Disney, but from acting altogether. He hasn't acted in anything ever since then, but he is still making his former fans laugh on his social media pages. When he was on the show, he wasn't exactly known
known for being the cool kid or the hottie of the group, but things have changed since then. He is now looking like an indie type of rock star. The former actor is now 26 years old and is living a pretty normal life compared to the Disney spotlight he used to be under. He loves interacting with fans on social media and often advocates for weight loss and the LGBTQ community. Here we are at number 4 with Stephen Anthony Lawrence, also known as Beans from the show Even Stevens. His character was so annoying and goofy that many fans thought he was adorable. After the show ended, he continued his career and booked some other roles in movies like The Cat in the Hat and Cheaper by the Dozen. He seemed to be on a roll, but things seemed to slow down for the actor. Since then, he has continued to book acting jobs, but nothing that would land him on the big screen or put him back in the limelight. Nowadays, he is living a life away from Hollywood glamour. He's still doing acting here or there, but he's also teaching college kids by leading seminars at various California schools. On top of that, it was reported that he was working at Sunny Valley Shopping Center in California being Santa Claus's helper during the holidays. Like, no joke, I'm being serious. He is now 28 years old and surprisingly looks a lot different. Alright guys, at number 3 we have Adam Lambert. All my 90s kids will remember him as Gordo from Lizzie McGuire. You know, the geeky friend we all wanted Lizzie to date. The show was one of the most successful shows at the time and he was leading the series alongside Hilary Duff. He even reprised his role for the movie and the remake of the series, the Lizzie McGuire movie. However, after it all ended in 2004, he seemed to just vanish from the acting world. He ended up going to school and just booked smaller projects on the side. His last acting role was in 2008 when he starred in the movie Beautiful Loser. That happened to be the same year that he graduated from UC Berkeley with a bachelor's degree in geography. Later on though, the years 2012 to 2014, he was a student at Barrett College where he got an MPA. He is now working at the Irish Arts Center in New York. In the number 2 spot is Kay Panabaker. She started out with Disney when she took on the role of Debbie Berwick, the annoyingly happy friend Pim, on the show Phil of the Future. From there on, she had a very successful career starring in different TV series and movies. She starred in 2.5 Men, Nancy Drew, Grey's Anatomy, Law & Order, and CSI. Her resume would be any actor's dream, which is why I am personally confused as to why she quit back in 2012. She went on to study at UCLA where she studied zoology, and as of 2016 she began working full-time as an animal keeper at Disney's Animal Kingdom. So she retired early from acting, but she hasn't completely left Disney. Her older sister Danielle Panabaker continued with her acting career and she can be found on the TV series The Flash where she plays Killer Frost. Taking the number 1 spot on our list is Mitchell Musso. He's best known for playing Miley Cyrus's best friend Oliver Oaken in the Disney show Hannah Montana. After Hannah Montana ended, he continued to do some other work on the Disney Channel, but once he grew out of that, his acting career just quickly faded out. His career took a big hit because in 2011, while still filming with Disney, he was arrested in Burbank, California on October 16th. Apparently, he did not slow down for a police officer who was directing traffic for an accident, which had Mitchell pulled over. That's when they found that his blood alcohol level was higher than the legal limit. He was charged with a maximum of 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine for both misdemeanor counts. After that, he continued to pursue acting and book jobs here and there. His latest gig began in 2016 when he did voiceover work on the show Milo Murphy's Law. We don't really know what the now 27-year-old is up to, but you do get a glimpse of his life through social media.